Good evening and welcome back to Sports at Prime. Now, the focus may well be on the Springboks and the Rugby World Cup that gets underway in a couple days' time. But if you add a couple days on top of that, you get to a very, very important athletics event called the IAAF World Championships. It's taking place in Doha. And South Africa will be hoping to try and turn things around. If you recall a couple of weeks ago, probably about 6 or 7 weeks ago, in fact, the gentleman that I'll be introducing in a few moments' time was here in the Newsroom Africa studio. At that particular time, we did not have a lot of confirmation around the team, around the squad. They will be heading out to Doha. Since then, time has passed. The squad has now been announced, and it's an opportunity for us to look then at the team and at the individuals that will be representing South Africa at the IAAF World Athletics Championships. I'm joined in studio now by the acting CEO of SASCOC, Qondani Ngwenya. Sir, thank you very much for your time, Q. We appreciate it. If we go back to that conversation that you and I had a couple of weeks back, we weren't too sure on how the team was shaping up. I know there were question marks around Wade van Niekerk. If I'm not mistaken, Qondani Ngwenya had not yet been banned, if I get my timelines right. A lot has transpired since then. We have the 31-person team that has now been announced to travel off to Doha. Your preliminary thoughts and views on the squad that's been announced?
Thank you very much once again for having me here. Great. I mean, it's a great opportunity for the athletes, and I'm delighted that Athletics South Africa is going to be fielding a very strong team in that, albeit without Wade and Custer. But we look forward to those guys performing in those games, and obviously it's a nice build up to Tokyo. It's going to tell us possibly where we're going to be faring, in Tokyo, and who's coming out of there, and it's an opportunity for some of the youngsters to showcase themselves.
The split of a 26-5 man versus woman team for South Africa, does that suggest perhaps is that evidence rather that we as South Africans perhaps are not developing enough female talent to come through, or is that perhaps, if I may play devil's advocate, to say that this current moment we just don't have enough females? Which one is it?
Yeah, big concern. I mean, I've got to say that when I saw the team myself, I thought this is a big concern, and we should be doing better than that. Certainly, I thought, in the long distances, we should be having more women coming out through there. But there's been some of our top women have been competing in events lately, the Cape Town Marathon and a few other marathons of late, because this is the marathon season in South Africa. It is a big concern. The sprint revolution, as we talk about it, has been mainly a men's sprint revolution in this country. It's not really impacted on the women, on the men. And if you look at this team, it's a sprint-based team. The relay 400, 100 relay is about 6-7 men in the 100 relay. In the 200, we've got about 3 guys, 2 guys actually in the sprints, the 100 meters, 200. So there's quite a lot of that we see. Not so much in the middle distances. In other words, your 1,500, there's nobody there. 3,000 meters, etc. So there are gaps, but I'm sure Athletics South Africa, is going to try and find some answers around that. But yeah, it is a big concern.
From a female perspective, the woman that we showed on screen a few moments ago is not only arguably the best female athlete to come out of South Africa. Many would suggest that she's the best female athlete in the world right now.
Yeah.
It's impossible to deny the fact that the absence of Qondani Ngwenya leaves a massive hole in this team, and through no fault of hers or through SASCOC or Team South Africa, she has been essentially ripped out of this team and not allowed to compete. Now that the dust has settled on that ban, have you had time to look back at the incidents that have led to this point and what it means to Team South Africa, what it means to this country to not have arguably the best female athlete in the world represent us?
Look, it's still a big issue, no doubt. And the time when we last spoke about this, the lower court in Switzerland had just made that ruling. The dust has settled, but we soldier on with the appeal in terms of the Supreme Court, and we hope that before the Olympics, or certainly in the next month or 2, there will be a decision on that. It leaves a gaping hole, obviously, in this team going to Doha now, and that's not something that needs to be taken lightly. But there is nothing much we can do about that. We can only hope that the appeal will come in our favor as and when it comes. And certainly if it does, then it's a huge boost going into Tokyo next year. And I'm hoping that we will get that. Certainly, Caster has carried on, and her life hasn't stopped because of this. She's fighting, and we are behind her all the way in terms of that. So I'm really, really hoping, and certainly I think all of South Africa is hoping for a positive result out of that appeal.
When it comes to other sporting codes, they are judged on trophies and championships won. When it comes to multi-coded events, it comes down to the medals table. Now, if we remove Caster Semenya from the debate, we unfortunately remove Wade van Niekerk, who we had our suspicions around already that he may not be fit. He made that announcement a couple of weeks back as well. We'll get to Karina Horn in a few moments' time too, but there's no denying the talent that is now lost because of that. It is going to severely impact South Africa's medal tally.
It will, definitely. I mean, at a minimum, we've lost 2 medals in Caster and Wade. So, and we have no replacement for that right now, that's for sure. However, we've got the likes of Clarence Munyai in there on the sprint side in 200 meters, and I'm hoping that he will come up and rise to the occasion at this point in time. We're not going to get the same amount of medals that we were hoping for in these championships, and certainly if this trend continues into Tokyo, for me, from a SASCOC perspective, it is really a big concern. It's something that we're going to have to look to address in some shape or form. We don't have solutions right now because you can't replace a world champion like Caster. You can't replace a world champion like Wade just like that. Those things take time. They take years and years to develop champions of that nature. So it's a huge concern, but obviously it means that we're down at least 2 medals going into the championships. But whenever that kind of thing happens, in any sport, it always opens a gap for another youngster to come in, to plug in the gap, to raise their hand and say, I'm here, count me in, and I'm going to do what is required of me. So, as I say, there are some youngsters in this team that I hope will put their hand up and showcase what they're made of.
Have there been discussions with Wade and his team around his immediate future? Is there a belief that Wade will get back to where he was back in Rio 2016? Yeah,
we've got to keep positive on that one, definitely. We hope and I believe that he will be ready come Tokyo. In a way, personally, I'm glad he's not out in these championships, because I think there would have been a lot of pressure from him, having not competed at all in the lead up to this championship, for him to perform. And it would have been something that perhaps would have put a dent on his confidence. He would have been up for a big challenge, as we know. So I think it's better. I'd rather selfishly, wait for him to get ready for Tokyo. And I think it's a better decision by the team that he's rested and he's kept in the cocoon,
Okay, take nothing away from Doha, but Tokyo certainly is the bigger prize at the moment. We'll continue to discuss this. We'll take a quick break. We're back with more as we chat about South Africa's team going through to Doha for the World Athletics Championships. How well are we going to perform? We'll discuss more about that right after this.